This woman was just a cleaning lady, yet she could make over $1 million a year just by cleaning. She even had luxury cars pick her up whenever she went to work. But every time she made more money, she only moved one step closer to danger. Because other cleaners cleaned ordinary rooms, what Thony cleaned were crime scenes left behind by the mob. Just a few days earlier, she was still just an ordinary cleaner at a boxing gym when she witnessed Hayek's son kill the gym owner. To save her own life, Thony offered to clean up the scene for them. Armin, who handled their cleanup work, saw what she was capable of and decided to have her handle these messes for the mob. But while Armin was willing to keep her around, Hayek had no intention of letting her go, because Thony was the only witness to what his son had done. As long as she was alive, the truth could come out at any moment. So Hayek planned to use the boxing gym cleanup to get rid of Thony along with it.
I still have a cleaner inside.
You mean the cleaner who should already be dead?
As soon as Armin found out, he rushed back to the boxing gym. Meanwhile, Thony discovered a bomb hidden in the basement. She immediately ran for the basement exit, but the fire door had already been locked. With the bomb about to go off, Thony grabbed a nearby fire extinguisher and started smashing the glass in the fire door. Just as she broke through the glass, Armin suddenly arrived. He quickly opened the fire door and led Thony out of the gym. The two had barely made it outside when the bomb exploded behind them. Armin was injured while shielding Thony. Thony immediately checked his condition and quickly realized she had to act right away.
No, there's no time. The Shotnikov deep. I need to cauterize it. No. Put him down now! Do you trust me?
Thony quickly stabilized Armin's injury, and they managed to leave before the police arrived. On the way to the hospital, Armin couldn't help asking her how a cleaning lady knew how to do all that. But Thony didn't explain. Instead, she confronted Armin and asked if the whole thing had been meant to take her out. Armin told her Hayek was the one who wanted her gone, and that he had come back specifically to save her. Thony believed him for the moment, but she had one more important condition.
And if anything happens to me, swear my son will be protected.
I give you my word.
From that day on, Thony continued cleaning up different messes for Armin, while Armin used his connections to help Luca get the treatment he needed. Whenever the phone Armin had given her rang, Thony would grab her cleaning supplies and head out, and there would always be a car waiting outside to pick her up. To keep her family from noticing anything unusual, she still worked as an ordinary cleaner during the day. But what Thony didn't know was that FBI agent Miller already had his eye on her. One day, while she was cleaning at a bowling alley, Miller deliberately approached her with his child. He first pretended to be an ordinary customer and made small talk with her, then suddenly revealed who he really was.
I wanted to approach you in a safe place. I'm an FBI special agent.
I just have a few questions for you.
Miller showed her photos of Armin and the others, but Thony denied knowing any of them. But her reaction in that brief moment was enough for Miller to know that she was hiding something. Thony also realized that if the authorities kept investigating, her and Luca's immigration status could be exposed, and her son's treatment could be forced to stop. For the first time, she seriously considered walking away. But just then, Armin called again.
I'm sending a driver to pick you up.
I am at work.
Text me the address.
It turned out Armin had just run into a serious problem. More than half of a shipment that was supposed to be delivered had suddenly disappeared. The buyer assumed Armin was trying to cheat him, and the situation quickly turned violent. Armin managed to bring things under control for the moment, but lost one of his most trusted men. Even worse, he had to find the missing shipment as soon as possible and get the warehouse cleaned up. When Thony arrived, she looked at the mess in front of her and thought about the FBI agent who had just approached her. She finally decided she couldn't keep doing this.
After I finish here today, I want out of our arrangement.
But Armin understood better than she did that Thony had already learned too many of their secrets. Walking away now would only mean losing the one person who could still protect her.
Just do your job, so I could justify keeping you alive.
Only then did Thony realize she was no longer free to simply walk away, so she had no choice but to finish the cleanup. To keep the other employees from noticing anything, everyone in the warehouse had been cleared out. As Thony was about to take out the trash, a man who worked unloading shipments suddenly appeared. He only crossed paths with Thony for a moment, asked her a few questions, then left. But Thony still noticed that something about the man seemed off. She just didn't think much of it at the time. As Thony was finishing up, she suddenly received a distress message from Fiona. Miller had tracked down Fiona's workplace and deliberately kept Fiona behind to force Thony to show up. When Miller questioned her, Thony still insisted that she didn't know Armin. Even when he used their immigration status to pressure her, Thony refused to give him anything and eventually walked out with Fiona. Once they got back to the car, Fiona completely panicked. She had lived in America for 15 years. Her children and her entire life were here. If she were deported, she would lose almost everything she had. Thony was just about to comfort her when bad news came from home. Luca had developed a high fever, and he had run out of the medication he depended on. The person who used to provide the medication could no longer be reached. The hospital had agreed to treat Luca, but his appointment wasn't until the following week. With Luca's condition, he couldn't afford to wait that long. Thony had stayed in America in the first place because she was desperate to get treatment for her son. And now the one thing she feared most was happening. She had no choice but to contact Armin again, but he wasn't answering. In the end, Thony decided to take the risk and bring Luca straight to the hospital. Fiona wanted to go with her, but Thony refused.
Okay, I'm going with you then.
No. There's no point in both of us risking deportation. You have to stay here with your kids. I know you're here. Always. No matter what happens.
I'll get the kids to say goodbye.
But halfway there, Thony suddenly changed her destination and carried Luca straight into the club where Armin was. When Armin saw Luca's condition, he didn't ask questions. He immediately took Thony and Luca to the family's private clinic. But the entire scene was photographed by Miller, who had been following Thony. After receiving treatment, Luca's condition finally stabilized. Thony also learned for the first time that Armin had also come to America with his parents as a child. Years ago, his father suddenly became seriously ill, and it was Hayek's family who stepped in to help. So whenever Armin saw Thony doing everything she could for her son, he was reminded of his own past. That was why he kept helping Thony. But before Thony could even relax, Hayek's men arrived at the clinic and took her straight back to the warehouse. The missing shipment still hadn't been found. More importantly, Hayek had never forgotten that Thony was still the only witness to what his son had done. Now Armin wasn't just protecting her, he had even brought her into the family's private clinic, and that had crossed Hayek's line. Armin tried to explain things for Thony, but Hayek had no intention of giving her another chance. Just as Thony found herself in danger again, she suddenly remembered the man she had briefly crossed paths with while cleaning the warehouse.
But I did see something here today. A man was loading boxes on one of your trucks. He looked nervous, like he was doing something he should not be doing.
Even though she had only seen him briefly, Thony had remembered his face and the way he had been acting. Armin and the others immediately identified the man as Jimmy, one of the workers unloading shipments. Before long, they searched his vehicle and found the missing shipment inside. One small detail Thony had remembered without even trying once again became the reason she stayed alive.
Thank you for your loyalty. I hope your son recovers soon.
But Thony wasn't happy at all because she finally realized that every time she solved another problem for these people, she learned more of their secrets and got pulled in even deeper. Back at the clinic, Luca finally woke up, and Armand warned Thony once again.
Yeah, but you need to know. Once you're in, you're in. That's the way Hayek sees it. You understand?
Thony didn't answer. She simply looked at her son lying in the hospital bed, because as long as Luca still had a chance to get treatment, walking away was no longer an option for her.